And we're live, and that's good. Um, Go to turn my page, get my notes kind of ready. I have a topic tonight. Eventually, we kind of hunt and peck for topics, but I want to write this down. Anything? Yeah, I realized after last night's amazing live that there was something I could have said. There's something that could have been talked about or at least shared that was missed. So I want to make sure I get that tonight. I want to put that in the forefront of my mind and my effort here, so that in all the things that transpire this evening in this wonderful event, that I remember this. So welcome to the late night after party gathering of like-minded people as we discuss things near and dear to our heart. One of the things I like to do is I do like to throw out a link into the comment section, and I'll post it in there right there to the beginning. Boom, there it is. And if you feel so inclined as to desire to share something with the august group that gathers, hey, grab that link, paste it into a web browser. I'll see you pop in, and I'll give you some time. And it depends on how many people want to do it. Last night we had four or three wonderful people come in. We had the carnivore soldier, we had Todd, and we had intentional carnivore Sean, and it was quite wonderful. Hello there, Susan. How are you? Good to see you. Well, actually, to see you here, I don't see you, but you know where I'm going with that. Got kind of crazy last night, didn't it? We had a great thing going on. Listening to Sean be so inspirational and so powerful in his commentary. And then, of course, we had Larry in here from Carnivore Soldier coming in, and then Todd. I mean, it was really pretty interesting. You're not grabbing links. I got you. I got you. I got you. Well, I wanted to make sure that that opportunity is there. You never know. You one night you may say, you know what? You know what you could do. I mean, could you don't have to. You can grab it and turn the not do the video, just do an audio, and I'll be happy to leave a Hollywood square there for you, so that you would have that when I do that, it won't change too bad. On off. See, look at that. Such a magnetic personality. On, off, off, off. Okay. All right. But I'd be more than happy to bring up an audio channel, and you can just speak, because I know you're great with the typing and all that, but when you're ready, if you want to do it, that'd be fine. In the meantime, man, today spent the afternoon. Well, this morning I had to go get more blood work done. Got some irregular blood work, so we did some more blood work, and we're going to wait a few days and see how that turns out. But doing that and then working on the pavilion. Oh my gosh, we're building the raceway for the for the chimney. Oh, that was work. And then after we got it all put together, and the gentleman helping me, he's amazing, and he really knows what he's doing as a framer. So we're doing stuff, and we built this thing, and he's 62, 63. I'm 61, so we're not spring chickens, and we're running up and down ladders. And he's a wee feller, and in great shape. And he was getting in places you just can't believe a person can get into, and putting the nail gun and doing things and cutting and hammering and pulling and doing. And I was up on a ladder on the roof, just holding the thing up, and it was kind of comical. It was kind of comical, but we were able to put the race up. I guess basically the framework for the chimney. We had to cut a hole through the roof and all sorts of stuff. We had to make sure it's big enough for the pipe, and we got it done. We didn't put the pipe in yet, but we got the race up, and I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to head down to the Gulf Shores tomorrow And so I'll be out of pocket for a few days. I don't know what's going to happen for late night on Monday and Tuesday, but I'll be back for Wednesday for sure. I may try to host, maybe I'll post, maybe not host something for each of those nights, Monday and Tuesday. It'd be really cool to do one down at the ocean. Wouldn't it be cool? That would be nice. Waves going in the background, just doing a live from the ocean. But I don't know how well the internet will connect. So we're going to be kind of scoshy, but we'll do it. So what are you up to? What are some, let me get here. Let me do some hosting type things I'm supposed to do. We'll hit this one and we'll throw up the ever present, most important in my life topic. What are your most recent non-scale victories? Yeah. What's going on for people? And I still know there are people in other streams. I don't know if Ali is still on with JT yet. JT and Ali is still on. And I know there's some guys out there doing the football thing, but I'm not so much into football like that anymore. I used to be when I was younger, but I don't know what happened. I lost an interest in it. I like college ball, but I'm starting to lose the interest on that because I'm getting involved and more interested in other things. So anybody who's in there, I see we have a few people in there. I see that Susan is in here mixing it up, but by all means, feel free. I put the link in as the first entry in the comments. So if someone wants to come online, they can come online. If they don't, I'll just keep on discussing various topics as they come up in the comments section. But again, last night was pretty spectacular. That was very good. That caught me off guard a little bit. I know Woodster made a comment saying, hey, it's not a small channel anymore, but you know what? It is. It's just sometimes we catch the wave and other times the wave is down the beach a little bit, you know. What I was amazed about is, what I was amazed about Sean's reaction, because I compared Sean from Intentional Carnivore to being, to me, like Kelly Hogan was to him, right? And I think that caught him off guard. But the truth of the matter remains is that that's how I view it. And he's a wonderful person, and he's got a lot on the ball. And I really respect him for the many things he's done in his life. And like you last night, Susan. I mean, you were mixing it up and you were sharing with us your victory so far. That's great. Hey, he's back. How you doing, bud? 1 year. Congratulations. Well done, my friend. That is awesome. That's a lot of effort right there to stay on top of something like that, for that many days, and you've been consistent in it. Congratulations. Well done. And I know that you've got a lot going on. I know that you're working on that project and you have a bunch of things to do. I'm not an engineer, but I've worked with a number of them. And my sister's an electrical engineer. She became a nuclear engineer. And now she was an electrician before she's not really retired, but she moved back to take care of my father. So her electrician work has come to a halt. But she's probably she like you, one of the very capable, intelligent people who really apply themselves. But my father was an engineer. My sister's an engineer. I was a weather guy. No engineering here. And but I worked with a lot of engineers, and I worked in plans and programs. So I've done a lot of acquisition from the federal market space, doing the purchasing, the contracts of buying the services of engineers and engineering on a very large scale computer system, because in the weather we use a lot of computers. So my job was to honcho the dollars, and the honcho I ride herd on requirements and requirement, not just the generation of the requirements, but how those requirements were allocated to our contractors. So yep. So good on you there, my friend. Good on you. I'm glad to hear that. 365 days, zero slip ups, and you've got the results to prove it, Todd. So that's awesome. You're cooking and prepping food for Holly and Bethany for the weekend. I'm going to my young brother's house tomorrow and even Sunday. Supper meal for Friday, Saturday. I got it. There you go. You got to do what you got to do. Now, when you're prepping meals, do you ever use like a crock pot or something like that? Hello there, Laura. Good to see you back again. Yes, this is a tribe. I like it. I like it. Yeah. Oh, electricians, that's how you started. I get it. Yeah, my father, he was in the Army for 20 years, and he taught basic electronics. He was a radar guy. Then he taught electronics in the Army, and he always wanted me to know about it. And well, he wanted all of us to. And my brother, my older brother, he went into the Army, and he was a non-Morse intercept spook kind of guy, working with electronics stuff. And then my sister, like I said, she went to engineering school, electrical engineering. And then when she went to career day, the Navy came up and the Navy said, "Hey, how would you like to be a nuclear engineer?" She said, "Do I have to join the Navy?" They said, "No." She said, "Sure." So she became a nuclear engineer. She oversaw refueling and repair type activities out in California until the Navy closed her job site. Then she worked for the DOE, and her position involved working with spent material. And then she did some work on that the satellite that went past to the outer planets. That she was involved, not involved, but asked and questioned about what to do with some of that stuff. But she got tired of pushing papers and writing herd on the desk, so she became an electrician. Kind of went in reverse. Electrical engineer, nuclear engineer, and then she went over to be the electrical engineer. I mean, to be an electrician. And I just can't imagine how it had to be on a job site when she showed up, and they were like, "Oh, the girl wants to be an electrician, right?" And then she said, "Well, I could look like I could design the circuits. I can design the components of your circuit. I can talk to you about the subatomic effects and electricity and all that. Or I can just tell you need an outlet every 6 feet here, 18 inches off the ground. What do you want? I mean, come on, which one you want? Come on, work me." That had to shut a few people up. Yeah, cool. Yep, good to see everybody's showing up. Yep, Todd's here. We've got Susan here, and I think when a couple more of these other programs shut down for a bit, we'll have something. I see JT is out. All right, JT's out with Ali. Your dad is a Marine. That's right. Once a Marine, always a Marine. And he got to be in the Marine. And when he got out of the Corps, FYI, just so you know it, because I don't want your dad to catch it. I will type it in. It's CORP. Corps. That's how they want corps. They want the corps being the corpse. Yep. That's how you got there today. All right. Tell your father thank you for his service. Appreciate that. Hello, Kahinde Tekobo. How are you? Welcome to the after party, the late night, to the tribe, to all whatever we call ourselves. But we're just a group of people who like to meet up on. I do this Monday through Thursday generally, and I give people an opportunity to come on here live if that's what they want to do. Matter of fact, I'll post the link in here real quick. And if somebody wants to come in and share something, or just whenever someone throws a topic at us, if we want to mash it up a bit, it's what we do. I have been carnivore. This, matter of fact, today marks I got to make sure I get it right. I want to say this is my 10th week. I have it on my calendar. And my calendar says today is the beginning of week 10. Week 10 started today. I don't know what my weight is because Woodster 72 and I went into an agreement where we wouldn't step on the scale till the end of November. But I suspect I am at least at 270. I'm under 280. And under 280 puts me down 25 plus pounds. So down 25 plus pounds in 2 months, I'll take it. I feel pretty good overall. I'm glad you are well. I'm glad you are well. That is awesome. I'm well. I've been working in the yard, working on a project. Did I? Well, I get lucky every once in a while. I get lucky. Yep, yep, yep. And that's right. That is great the way Susan's preparing the meals. And I didn't see, Susan. Did you put a reply to my silly question about prepping food? About what do you use? Like, if you're gonna prep a lot of food like that, do you use like a crock pot or an Instapot or um, a big air fryer, or you just put it in the oven baking it up? Yeah. Ah, that's right. That's right. Oh, well, God bless. My heart aches for your family. It's always hard. I know. I still have my mom. I still have my father. My mom went home in 1997, and my dad, he is 88, going to be 89. And well, we know there's an inevitable moment that's coming, but until then, we keep living life to the fullest. Laura, just why I put some paleo alley. Oh, great grass fed beef and berries. Right, I got that for a trip snack. Not much flavor, kind of fatty, size of a pencil. Well, it'll be interesting to hear what you got back on that, Laura. We're traveling tomorrow, and what I'm going to do, I have about 3 pounds of hamburger that thawed in the refrigerator. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and make hamburger patties, right? I'll make hamburger patties. And they're going to go in the travel bag. We only have about 6 hours of travel. We're not going to do all of it tomorrow. We're doing something new. Tomorrow, we're taking our dogs with us on vacation. We haven't done that before. So we got these dogs about 20, 22 pounds, and they're going on vacation with us. We're going to the beach. So that should be a lot of interesting times. But I'm going to pack a bunch of hamburgers so I can just go down the road. I can pop them in and eat them. That'd be good. All right. So, hey, Tina, how are you? Carnivore 6 weeks. All right. Good job. Now, when you do carnivore, are you, Tina, are you doing everything like, the way I like to look at carnivore is to say, if it had a mother or had a face or a product of one of those, I can eat it. So, yeah, cheese is on my global diet plan. It's not the best for me. Uh, Sour cream is on my carnivore plan. So, I mean, it's a pretty big field when you look at it like that. I mean, when you want to say it's only going to be beef, butter, eggs, bacon, well, I guess a pretty small universe. But I wonder, Tina, let us know. All right, that was Paleo Alley. All right. Susan says frying hamburger, baked chicken thighs, frozen pizza for bathroom lunch, and I have Instapot, but not using. I am afraid of an Instapot, to be honest with you. To be totally honest, all right. I'm looking above the glasses. Totally honest, all right. That whole high pressure stuff just scares the bejesus out of me. I am not comfortable with high pressure. It keeps taking the V out. I get that. I get that. Hey there, Lindy. How are you? How are things down under? You good? I hope you're good. I hope the sun's out. I know that it's getting a little bit cooler here, but only in the evening. When I was out working in the yard today, I was hot, 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 hot. Good to see everybody. Hey, by the way, if you don't know someone here, or if like Kehinde, I don't know that I have seen you in my stream, but that doesn't mean I know where you've been. If you have a web page or if you have a YouTube page, feel free to put it in the comments section. You won't offend me if you advertise your page, okay? And that way other people can find you. Just feel free to paste the link in there, okay? That way other people can get right to your page and they can become a part of your world, okay? I don't know, but I let everybody know that it's okay for me. And in my world, if you do that for yours. Okay. All right. So, yep, the sun's out, blue sky. Yes, it does. I've read, and have you all heard? I mean, I want to say in the last 6 months, maybe I've been hearing more about this. I mean, I've heard of it, but it's more prevalent in some of the channels, and that is how they're telling people go ahead and go out in the morning and get that early morning sun in your eyes. Was it Dr. Haberman who was saying that? I'm not sure who it was, but get that early morning sunshine into your eyes, and to take some good deep breaths and and greet the day, and that's so good for your brain activity and your circadian rhythm and all the associated epigenetic slash hormonal responses in our body. But I have been hearing that a lot, but it is beautiful. It is so beautiful. Today, we had such a beautiful day, just some mid-level clouds playing through. And unless I was on the roof, then there were no clouds and the sun was beating down on me, beating me. But look at me, no burns, no hat, all day. When they say carnivores don't burn, I'm almost beginning to believe it. And oh, by the way, if you don't mind, Kehinde, can you tell us where you're from? I I don't want to hesitate a guess. I mean, you can either tell me where you're from, or you can say I'm currently in the greater area of New England, New Hampshire, or wherever it is, London, Brisbane, Tanzania, wherever. It does not bother me. You had salmon and eggs for dinner? That sounds amazing. Now, when you do your salmon, are you like poaching that salmon, Tina? Are you into like a softer type of salmon? Are you baking it? And for the eggs, are they hard boiled? Are they fried? Are they poached? I know a lot of people have a lot of different ways to like to do the combinations. And for me, I like things a little firmer, but I love 3-minute eggs. I got hooked on those when we were in Holland when I was a child. Just love that. Don't like the yolk. I don't like the white to be runny, but the yolk, a runny yolk, wonderful. Doing well. Hope all is well. Yeah, good. Hey, Lindy, did you get caught up on your work? The last time we talked, you were trying to get caught up on some work there. Oh, depression cure, light treatment. Yep, you betcha. Hey, we're going to bring Todd in here. You took the bait.
I took the bait. I couldn't let you just sit there on your own.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'm very comfortable to sit here for hours on end and bloviate and go on and on. But I do appreciate you coming. Room is looking good. Is
Thanks,
that boom arm new, or is it just that you have a different zoom on it?
This here? No, it's
Yeah.
new. I'm not used to where to put it yet.
Oh, it's great. You can't hide it, and you want to get the best vocal. So that looks like that's a very directional mic. What brand mic is that?
This was the I looked all this up. Hold on. Okay, yeah, it's the Samson.
Okay. All right. Nice.
I looked up on YouTube what a good mic was and what a good camera was, and I just followed their directions. So,
hey, there's no need to recreate the wheel, right?
Right. That's
yeah.
what I
Runny
figured.
yolks are good, Lindy. So, what type of camera are you running?
That was what this one was. Let me look in the back of this thing. This is a Razer Keo Pro. Keo Pro. So I don't know. I watched a thing on like 10 different cameras they said was awesome for this year, and that was their best pick. So I just went with that one.
That's awesome. So,
getting them put together.
yeah, it works. So, Kehinde, you say you're from Nigeria. Are you in Nigeria now? I'm actually was born in New Mexico in the United States, Southwest, and been all around, or not all around, but around a lot of the world. And now I live in Alabama, but not Greenbow.
Nigeria. That's amazing.
Yep. Yep. Runny yolks, they tend to run in the family, right? He's not funny, but he's here all day long. Oh, Lloyd does not like them. How about those yolks that aren't runny, but they're kind of like a I don't know. I want to go like a thick gravy, like right before they get hard. I mean, I like them anyway. I eat them. I'm equal. The only thing I do not like over easy runny white eggs.
Mm.
Not happening for this old boy. Now I'll drink eggs raw, but I know we put them in a shaker,
Right.
and then it's kind of until you get to that, and then anyway, as long as it can still be pretty gnarly.
I'm a soft scrambled guy.
Soft. All right.
Yeah. Just mix them good and fry them in butter, but keep them moving and then take them out when they're still a little shiny and they're nice and soft. You still got the runny yolk inside. It's pretty good.
All right, there you go. Everybody has a different way. Like today, we had done up a bunch of hamburger, and I put it in the pan when it's like the second time because I don't eat it all at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That's one thing I cannot do yet. I cannot cook and eat a lot of meat in a setting. I'm a big fella, but I have tried to eat a pound at a time, and it's a chore.
My brother's that way. I finally, when I started, a pound and a half was rough for me, but I do OMAD, so I'm up to almost 2 pounds. But what's kind of funny is a lot of people think I'm eating too little because I usually eat a pound, 1.5 to 1.8 pounds of meat a day is usually where I'm at, but it works great for me.
Well, I think the suggestion for protein, right, is that you're supposed to get 1 gram for a lean body pound you want to be at, right?
Right. Yep.
So, how tall are you, Todd?
I'm 5'10", but
Okay, so you're 5'10". You probably want to have about. You probably want to be ideal weight would be like 185. You'd be happy at 185. I'm just talking about the theoretical stuff.
yeah, I would be tickled. I don't.
Even if you went with 200.
Yeah.
If you got down to 200 or 220, right? And at 220, if you were 20% body fat, that'd be 44 pounds of fat. That means you have about 180, give or take, lean muscle pounds, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that means you need 180 grams. Well, 1 pound of meat, generally speaking, gives you 100 grams of protein.
Right.
A pound of chicken gives you more, a pound of beef a little less. So if you eat a pound and a half, that would put you right at about 130 grams of protein a day, right?
Yep.
And or more, maybe 140, and that's just the meat. You might eat other sources. So that's a good ballpark to work in.
I think I feel good. Like maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll have a day where I got to eat a little bit more. But yeah, it's working for me. I'm super curious to see what my ideal weight is going to be, where I'm going to land on that, because I look at people that I kind of have a theory. I think if you were big when you were real young, I think you're gonna have a higher body. Like you're gonna be heavier at a healthy body weight. I think if you were lighter when you're young and then put the weight on later in life, I think you're probably gonna still go back to a lighter body weight. I just say that because I've seen people that there's something about people in my family. Even the guys, even everybody that's very trim in our family, we weigh like lead.
Well, here's the deal. I suspect, and first let me say, Kehinde, thank you for letting us know. And thank you for coming to our slice of the internet from Nigeria. And I hope you enjoy what you experience here. And that, again, if you have your own channel here on YouTube, let us know what it is so we can go over there and we can support you too. Okay. Thank you. And hello to Mike Shaw. I get you. I see you coming in. Everybody's talking about their eggs. That's great. Limitless Lindy is heading out. Okay, Lindy, you take care.
See you, Lindy.
Thanks for dropping in. But here's my theory on what you were talking about there, Todd. And I have observed, and now I'm not the most observant person, but I have observed that people who are blessed with um, extra adipose tissue, right? Particularly those who are blessed early in life, right? They have to have an extreme amount of lower extremity muscle because to move about at all, right? Now they may encase it in adiposity, but the calves on these people, your calves, and I wouldn't. The other night you mentioned a number that was in the 30s when you were swollen with the lymph,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I bet you if you take it all the way down, you feel better. There's no way you're under 20.
No, for sure not. My brother laughs all the time because he's seen my, I've lost weight before and he's seen my calves. And he goes, when you get all that weight off, you're going to be able to slam dunk a basketball because I have huge calves. But, because I was 600 pounds when I was 14. And then I worked in the field as an electrician for, 17 years, climbing ladders, carrying wire, digging ditches.
Right,
So my frame did, and I'm just saying that because I noticed my brother's got 7 kids and
right.
he's got a very tiny wife, petite wife. And when the kids take after her side, they feel like they're made out of paper mache or something. You can pick them up and they feel hollow. But
Yeah.
then some of his boys took after our side and they just feel like they're made out of lead, not an ounce of fat on them, just ripped. And they just feel like they're made
Genetics,
out of, yeah,
genetics is like that. And by the way, Kahenda, thank you very much and have a blessed evening. Thank you. But I really do think the genetics has it, but you're building and you're putting that muscle on. You're out there in Montana and you're working and you're doing like you said, the ladder to move. Think about it. I used to work with folks. I had half the license or half the certification to be a personal trainer when I was in the military and being in the military, right? Did all that stuff. And so I used to end up working with some of the office workers, a lot of a lot of ladies who weren't familiar with doing gym work, right? And they go in there and we put them in to lift weights and they would go, oh, I can't lift those heavy weights when I'm bringing out the 45-pound plates, right? So I'd make them put a blindfold on and I'd put them on a leg machine that it's called a Smith leg press. You kind of lay back and you extend your legs up, right?
yeah,
It
hip
had a
sled.
sled. Well, I would put a fair amount of weight on there and they wouldn't know. And I'd tell them push and they push. And I would tell them, how much do you weigh? And like one little one, she weighed like 95 pounds, right? I said, look, let's make the math easy on me. You weigh 100 pounds. You go up and down the stairs. Yeah. Well, when you go up a stair in an OSHA compliant building, you're doing an 8-inch riser. So you're doing an 8-inch leg press with all your body weight on one leg. Ergo, you should be able to do twice your body weight for that distance without a problem.
Totally.
But I only told them that after I took the blindfold off, and they see 240, sometimes up around 300 pounds on there.
Mm-hmm.
And if they had seen the barbells before they addressed the machine, they'd freak out. Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Yeah.
But when they did the work, they're like, I can do that? Yeah, you just did 8 reps of this. So that's your minimum. That's going to be your starting weight for the rest of this time.
Totally. Yeah, it's
So
funny.
when you're doing a ladder, you're doing the same thing, but with 600 pounds?
Yeah, when I was 14, I was going to a gym called Universal Sports and Courts because I was trying to get the weight off back then, and it was so funny because I was so lopsided, right? I didn't have much upper body strength. Like my bench was 125 pounds when I was going there. But I get on that hip sled, and they maxed out all the bar on both sides. They could put 5 100-pound plates on both sides, and so there's 1,000 pounds on there. And the 2 trainers that are helping me, Kurt and Bob, at the end, they would sit on top of the sled, and so there's 1,400 pounds on there, and I could do it 8 times.
That's exactly what I did. My best is 1,400, and that one little lady who weighed near 100, she got on top of the sled because our sled actually had a pole in the middle too, and we put more on there, and then she got on there. It was for a fundraiser, but the idea being is our legs are so incredibly strong, and it's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Each of your legs represents about 1/3 of your body weight. So you got 1/3, 1/3, and then everything else.
Right. That makes sense because I'm all leg and back muscle basically, and then my upper body's like I'm always just lopsided on that. It's always funny. Somebody told me that if you got long arms, it's a little bit tougher to have a high bench, and I don't even care what the numbers are, but I have super long arms. and
Yeah,
short
me
little
too.
legs. Yeah, like I'm 5'10", but I think my wingspan is 6'3" or 6'4" for
Yeah,
whatever
I know
reason.
that my mom always used to give me a hard time. She said my legs were made by Steinway. So I'm 6'5",
Wow.
and my inseam is 31 inches.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, because
Right,
because I'm 5'10" and mine is 30, you
right.
know. So that's
So my
crazy.
doctor said if my inseam matched my lower torso, my leg matched my torso, I'd probably be right about 6'10".
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm so happy I'm not. It's hard enough being 6'5". You know what I mean?
I can imagine. Yep.
Yeah. So what have you been up to today? I mean, I know you had a lot of work. You get caught up a little bit there, did you?
No, I don't know when I'm going to get unburied, to be honest with you. It's a monster project. It's, for our little company. It's my brother owns a company I work for, and it's a apartment complex with 240 units, and it's
Okay.
a huge site, and it's just a lot of work getting it squared away. But we're getting there. It's pretty. It'll be a really good project for us. So
That's good. That's great. I bet. I think you heard me going on after I got out of the military because I'd done acquisitions on the government side.
yeah,
After I got out my first job, so we had the ice cream store, but I also got a job because I needed to make some more money. And ice cream doesn't pay the bills in the dead of winter, in Nebraska.
yeah.
And might imagine. So what happened is I got picked up for a small company, and they were, well, a small company, sub-$1 million a year company, and we ended up winning a really good contract as a sub. It was a 10-year, $500 million contract, and we were just one of many subs.
Yeah.
And then I went ahead and won some contract, and we took care of all the email and BlackBerry support for the VA.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so it was like a $35 million contract. So
Yep.
we had to go through a lot of growth, and if you don't grow right, you get in more troubles than if you stay in your box.
Yep. Yeah.
So
22 years of our company, and we went through a growth spurt in the housing bubble in 2008. 2000, well, up to 2007, 2008, just before it busted. And we for our company, this was big, but we ballooned up to 24 employees, and then we actually have 12 of us now, and we make better margins with the 12 guys than we did when we had 24 because we just grew wrong the first go around.
yeah, and the thing is it's the contracts you get on involved in. There's there's different margins and different work. I mean, that's just the bottom line of it. And sometimes when you bring people on, what is the old adage? You can have it fast, you can
Yeah.
have it, with high quality, right?
Yep.
Or there's a third one, but you can't have all three, right? You can have it
Right.
fast, you can have it good, and you can have it high quality, right?
Yeah.
But you
Well,
can't
you
have
can have it. Yeah, you can have it fast. You can have it cheap, or you can have it high quality. But you can only pick two out of the three. Is
That's
what
right.
the
That's right.
Yeah.
And I've been in the full spectrum of it. So I've been a customer, I've been the buyer, and I've been the provider, right? And I
Yep.
will tell you that the customer slash the person writing the first check is always long on requirements and short on resources.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And they want things done, and they don't want to have to pay for all that. Or a contractor will say, hey, I can give you what you want, but you're going to have to pay a lot of change orders. I'm sure you have to deal with that if you're designing a big apartment complex and all of a sudden they come out of nowhere and say, hey, by the way, we want to add this extra thing, and they don't take into account, multiply that time 35 apartments, and you're running a whole new power
Oh yeah.
station.
Oh yeah, for sure. It gets silly. The problem is the nature of contracting, and I don't know how you fix it, to be honest with you, but the nature of contracting is that low, all that people see, because contracting is technical and it's really hard to get your mind wrapped around. So everybody goes to the low number, and the low number is always a nightmare because you're always going to end up with change orders. Our company personally, we'll take the prints and then we'll dissect them and we'll tell them everything they're missing up front, and we'll give them a real price, what it's really going to cost to do the job. But we lose a lot of jobs because of that. But I hate change orders because change orders ruin relationships with contractors and customers, and it's not a good long game strategy because you lose trust.
That's right.
And we hate that because I don't, we're not going to retire off of any one job. So we need a good name, we need a good reputation, and we need to be part of a trusted team with all of our contractors and our customers. So we just won't play that game. And I hate, it's happening right now. I got called from a contractor this week. There's this place up here called the Yellowstone Club. It's where all the millionaires and billionaires live. It's a private mountain.
I know a couple of them.
Yeah. And this thing's monstrous. I mean, anybody you could think of that's anybody, if you name them, they live up there, and they build these monster, 10 to 25,000 square foot, $20 million homes up there that are all automated and just crazy. And, this electrician I know, he's gone bankrupt 3 times in the span of our career, and he just did it again. But he's always underbidding everybody, and then he tries to go in and change order his way out of it. And this one was just egregious because he had roughed in this place, and this contractor called us to trim it out and kind of pick up the pieces because he went bankrupt in it. And I mean, just our price to trim it out would be like 150,000, and this guy's total bid on the entire project to rough it in and trim it out was 110,000 for the project.
So that's what I like in what we did in government contracting. We learned our lessons, so we no longer do that whole crazy thing, lowest bidder. We go best value.
Yeah,
and we have to, and in any government contract, we always have, all we're really doing is your price has to have price realism. And if you come in under, we throw you out because you're obviously underbidding. It's no realism in there. But we want to make sure we get the best value. So we're actually measuring on risk, and can you get the job? So if you're a company that's never done a $10 million job, heck, you've never even done $1 million job, you're not going to get accepted into the pool.
Right. But, and that's good too. It takes longer, but if you're that contractor that has never missed deadlines, never had a lawsuit, never had some sort of collection problem or whatever, you can be higher and get the jobs because people rely on you. And that's where our company finally is. Because I'm very proud to say in 22 years, we've never missed one single deadline on one project ever, And so,
that's the true nature of the people you want to do business with. And that gives credence to what you said, because you had 365 days today, by the way, everybody.
Thank you very
365 days today without any slip up. So good on you, brother.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And I mean, I want to say too, that's more of a testament to the power of eating the proper human diet and how it can really give you the, give you the strength and the endurance to keep up with that. Because these are things, I was able to starve to myself to death before for, my longest was 17 months, but I always knew it was going to fall apart. This, I know I can keep this up for the rest of my life. I know it without a shadow of a doubt that I'm not going to fall off of this thing because it is so, your efforts are extremely rewarded with strength and health and just good sleep and, energy, and just your mind works so much better. This is, I mean, this is why I started this channel, because I'm like, people have got to know about this. It's incredible.
And it's amazing how much pushback there is to something that our great grandparents did all the time.
Yep, exactly. I mean, my grandmother lived to be like 98 or 99. And I mean, she ate bacon and eggs and lard and just, lived off the ranch every day. And everybody was, back then everybody was like, how is she still alive with the diet she eats? She's just on a ranch. And And that's exactly how she stayed alive. She was eating the proper human diet,
Yep. Hey, I'd like to just give a quick shout out to everybody pouring in. Hello, Matthew. Of course, Mike Shaw's in there cutting us up, and we've got Meeting Wellness is cutting us up, and Ellen has showed up. Thank you for dropping by, and I'm glad to see
Graham's
everybody
there.
having a good time talking about where they keep their weight. And yes, women do carry their weight differently than men, and that's just the way it is. Not I didn't make the design, and I'm okay with it. Yep. Ellen says mom grew up on a farm 105. I mean, isn't it just amazing that we as people, I mean, particularly if I can say this discreetly, I'm gonna go with say Western civilization people of the last 100 years. We're a pretty ornery group of people. We're pretty independent, and somehow or another, we we allowed ourselves to be bamboozled into
And I think,
thinking frosted cereal flakes covered by milk and bagels and donuts and 17 servings of grains a day was something good, when that's the perfect chow we feed rats, and we feed that to pigs. If you've ever raised pigs and you finish pigs, what do you finish them with? The same
yep,
stuff we get to eat.
yep. And, I honestly think it's arrogance. I think our generation or these last few generations are very arrogant. I think we've got too much trust and pride and faith in our own knowledge and understanding and gone away from, God's system, to be honest with you. It's every time I
Absolutely.
see, every time I see all these great declarations of, people saying, oh, whatever, the next great discovery. I mean, science is great and everything, but the more that they reveal in the universe, the more I look at it and go, we are so, I joke with my brother and I say, we're just kind of boogers on a tennis ball floating out here compared to what God created. And the idea that we can wrap our head around there and make these lofty statements like there is no God and these things, it just blows my mind. It's that kind of arrogance that's got us in this trouble.
It is, and along with that arrogance, I think that it's probably a healthy dose of fear,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't want to acknowledge that we're not in control, right?
Right.
And so we're
But
fearful.
man, acknowledging that though is so freeing. That to me, that's, you know, I used to be kind of into politics and all this stuff, and all it did was
Oh, be
make
careful! You got a
me.
couple politicians in here.
Well, it just wound me up, right? I would be mad and all this stuff, and then it's just like no king sits on the throne without being appointed by God. I don't care. Everyone that
Right?
sits there, God seated him there, and He had a plan for it. So God doesn't care whether I'm paying attention to the politics or not. This world's going to be spinning just fine. He's got it
You
under
know, he
control.
had it under control before we came along.
Yeah,
He's going to have it under control, and that's one of those hard things. And I think it's really hard for a lot of people in the church too to understand that you say God is in control, then you act as if He's not.
right.
Right?
Yep.
It doesn't mean be laissez-faire, or laissez-faire. It doesn't mean that you capitulate on everything because whatever. But our responsibilities are such that we acknowledge the roles, and then we acknowledge the work, right?
Right.
Because we're supposed to be working, and then but when we come to that, what we in the carnivore community are dealing with, we were bamboozled,
Mm-hmm.
and we allowed ourselves to be told something by people who do not care about us.
No,
You
not at
know
all.
that
Not
they
at
do
all.
not
It's
care.
no. I that was the biggest the most foolish I felt when all this stuff became clear to me was how long I delegated my own personal health to people that had a vested interest in making sure that I was on drugs and staying sick and not cured. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that the doctors individually were doing that, because I believe doctors are great people, but the system and the medical colleges and the information that they're taught is funded by people that have a vested interest in treating sicknesses and not healing people.
That's absolutely true. And I found out through my political foray that the machine wants to be fed, and the machine has multiple parts. So, like, you have the education machine, you have the mechanical equipment, durable medical equipment machine. You obviously have the medication machine, a pharmaceutical. You have the research arms, and they just keep wanting to get fed. And then what happens is they bring in laws that make it incredibly difficult for anybody to go, but if we don't have to have all this insulin and type 2 diabetes stuff, if people stop shoving stuff in their pie hole.
Right.
Right. But
and
that doesn't work. Doesn't make money.
Right. And it's so hard, right? Because I don't want to, I'm just going to speak for myself, but I'm not taking my own responsibility out of this at all. I'm exactly where I'm at because of the things that I did, and they're 100% my own problem and fault and choosing and everything. However, I will say this: this is kind of getting on the religious topics too, but it runs a very close parallel in my life to, if you don't trust and receive your complete and total forgiveness for the finished work, then you stay in bondage to shame, basically, because I say shame because shame is way worse than guilt, in my opinion.
Right. Sure.
It's way more of a bondage. And on the food end of things, when we buck up and we go at this standard American diet, we give it all we got, but it doesn't work, and we fail, and then we feel ashamed and bad and question ourselves. And so you got to still make sure you're doing your part. But boy, when you use that focus and that amount of energy and strength towards something that actually produces a result, like the proper human diet, you get rewarded with health, and you get stronger, and it gets easier, and you get that positive feedback and that change. That is worth going at. So, I try to tell people, yeah, you got a lot to do with this, but you also been lied to, and you've been putting all your energy in the wrong thing, and that's why it's failing. It wasn't you. You know what I mean?
I do, and I think a lot of that also speaks to a condition where they don't care. Like, okay, so I'm going to use an example. I'm going to go back in history. My mother-in-law, when my father-in-law and her were stationed at Nellis Air Force Base in Vegas, she worked, and this is way back in I want to go in the 50s, right? And she was paid by the casino to come in all gussied up and gamble. Right. And they wanted it to look like it was busy and people were winning. And what they told her is she would go get a bunch of chips, and she was allowed to gamble all she wants. She could play with it all she wants. She just couldn't take it. She just couldn't take it home. Right. And I think we end up in that situation where different people in different situations come up, and next thing you know, I mean, look what happened with keto. When keto started, when Atkins started these things, and even before Atkins, in the 70s, there was that high protein liquid diet. I know my mom did it, right? But eventually, when something good is found out to be marketable, right? They end up running. Now look at keto. You can't walk into a store and not see keto everywhere. But when I first started doing the Zone diet or Atkins diet and stuff like that, you were heretical for trying to do that, right? And now it's shifted to be, we can make billions of dollars. Now we're going to add in all these extra additives that have OSE at the end of them. And you may not know what their sugars, but and they don't. The machine is going to get fed. The question is, this is my personal viewpoint. We're all going to get used by the machine. There's no way you can escape it. If you're sucking in air, something is profiting off of you. All right. However, the question is, are you going to do the same and use the machine to do something for you? So in this venue that we're in here in this little box that we call YouTube, right?
Right.
They are, and you know this as well as I do. Anything, any app that's free,
Never
that means
free.
you're the product,
Yeah.
right?
Totally.
Question is, are we going to use it to our advantage to evangelize the carnivore way of eating, right? So
Right.
then you get this competing interest thing, right? And it's an interesting dynamic to play with. But the truth of the matter is, I suspect that a number of people who are 100 days plus in carnivore would continue with carnivore if the internet went away.
I agree. Yep.
But what pains my heart is those people who are like, let's say, new believers, right? You have to have people come alongside. You have to have people you can talk to. You have to have people you can bounce questions off. You need people who've walked the path and have told you, oh yeah, that's a pitfall right there, but here's how you get out of that pitfall, right?
Right.
People to
Yep.
lift you up and build you up.
Totally. Yeah. You got to have people that strengthen you and get you to that, over those hurdles.
That's a fact. Getting in here, Ellen's been chirping in here, and I really appreciate you giving us your input there, Ellen. It says that people were fooled to think the packaged guard was convenient, and now everyone is addicted. Yes, but could we say that we have a population addicted to their pharmacy too?
Oh, so many things.
So it's not just the food we're addicted to. We're addicted to the pharmacy. If you look at what happens with insulin. Look at, wasn't it like 2 years ago that was all the rage? You couldn't get. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, Sean.
Or how about addicted to statins? Hey, I talk to people all the time. And now I'm not a doctor, nothing I say here constitutes medical advice. I've not been to medical school. Blah, 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 blah. You got the idea. But I'm talking to people, and I look at them. And some of my friends. I'm 61 now, so a lot of my friends, they're my age group. They're either a couple years, 10 years older, 10 years younger, but a lot of them they're on statins, and they have great, particularly the more active ones. They have the great vascularity in their arms, right? And they look ripped, but they bruise and they tear and there are all these other issues that come along with statins. And I try to tell them, like, but you're type 2 diabetic and you're on statins. How about we just, instead of eating the big carbonara spaghetti meal and then shooting yourself with 20 units of insulin, don't eat the carbonara, don't jab yourself with insulin, and live a little better life.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. But we live in a society where the number one treatment for all disease is pharmaceutical drugs. But the only problem with that is that pharmaceutical drugs are the third leading cause of death in our country. So it's like the third leading cause of death is the number one treatment. And if you just say that out loud and wrap your head around that, it's absolute insanity.
Well, more people die under doctor's care than don't, right? And so, and then I know the doctors who are out here with us in our community, they often tell you, if we could get the inflammatory based diseases under control, it'd be like the days when the doctors were traveling and they went to house to house. So they didn't have a lot to do, right? Little Jimmy fell out of a tree. Bobby was chewing tobacco, or we got a real pandemic or something, right?
Right.
But
yeah.
It's and I think big pharma. I think there are a lot of people in the research of big pharma and places like that they're truly wanting to find a medicinal pathway to making life better for people, right?
Yep.
But there's no
money.
it just doesn't seem like there's this idea of, well, what if we just made sugar a much more difficult thing, or at least we told the truth about sugar to everybody, right?
Right. And I think once people start to see it and they experience it for themselves, just like Mike was saying there in that comment, we might as well just admit that we're addicted to drugs, because It absolutely is true. And now, I was doing kind of a live stream on Labor Day, and they were talking about, like what are your Labor Day hacks, and are you going to have a cheat day or whatever? And I said, my mind really has been changed, and I think this is as much prayer and interceding in the word as anything, but my mind has been completely changed on that. I don't want no longer look at sugar as a treat. It's not a treat, it's a poison. It's death. It's what's robbed me of my quality of life for 40 years on this earth, and I'm just not doing it anymore. I mean, that stuff makes me mad. And I ask people, if there was, 400 or 640,000 different types of, crack cocaine or meth, would you say that it's being restrictive not to be able to, splurge on a cheat day and have some meth? I really think it's the same thing. I do. I mean, I really see it that way now.
Well, I think that's a great perspective to have gained after 365 days of being on it. Also, you have the advantage of you've been there and back and been there and back. So you've realized the other ways weren't sustainable and
Nope.
probably exacerbated your condition in the long run. So,
Absolutely.
but when you're talking to a zombie, right?
Oh, it's so hard. It's so
Yeah, it's
hard.
so hard. And then and we don't have people that support it, and don't have just we're going to go through the same thing doing this, if not more and worse, that the keto and the low carb did, right? But
Right.
I did notice that last year, the lady who was in charge of the American Diabetes Association, a physician, they actually put in like page 12 of their standard of care, low carb as a way to treat type 2 diabetes because she
Right.
has a child with type 2 diabetes, right? So, but I want to pop up here on a comment here. Yeah, people do want the instant fix. We do have it all over.
The miracle
Metabolic
pill.
health is the issue, and
Yep.
yeah, Mike coming through, keeping it real. The problem with instant gratification is that it takes too long. And Mike, that's more of a. I've been playing with a nail gun, working with a nail gun all day, and I got nails in pockets. But that's really more of a situation that we have not addressed in our society. In that we've gotten so goal oriented and so me oriented. When you take goal and me and make them the apex of your day, right? And we've totally gone away from this idea of it used to matter how you got things done, right? The
Right.
process and the honor and dignity, right, mattered. But
Yeah.
we
Replace
got to
those
a
two
point that
things.
said, by any means possible. If you're a person that says by any means possible, right,
Right.
then you have forsaken a moral position
Right.
in my book.
Right. You gotta replace the ends justify the means with truth and meaning.
Right.
Yeah.
I I don't know how much. So here we are left with where we are today, all of us in different positions in our journey,
That's
and
awesome, Susan.
yep, we're in a different position on our journey, and that's what makes having this forum of great because we can we can definitely lift each other up and encourage each other and be a solution set and accountability partners. Do you find this to be an accountability tool as well, Todd?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, just like Jordan Peterson says, you know, uh, tell the truth or at least don't lie, and follow that adventure and see what happens. And it absolutely is amazing when you're just super honest with yourself. It makes you super accountable. And for me now, even more so than the end result that I'm shooting for, the accountability is I want so bad to flip this around and be at whatever my goal weight is here in another 12, 18, 24 months, whatever it takes, because I just don't think that people can argue with it at that point. If I go from 700 and whatever, 715, 50 pounds, whatever it was, and I get down to whatever the goal weight is, 200 pounds, I get this skin off me. Who's going to be able to argue with that? They'll have seen me for 40 years being over 600 pounds, you know? And then to turn that around, there's not a single argument that will be able to fly in the face of that. And that's what excites me the most about all of this, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I think that's how the Kelly Hogans and the people of that nature, they just sit there and say, look, you can throw all your fancy degrees and all your learning at this you want. I'm standing here before you as an N of one who said, I did this, this is my result, and I've maintained it for 15 and 20 years, right?
Yep.
And you can do, but you know what excuses are? I mean, excuses are
Yeah,
a dime a dozen, right?
totally.
And so it gets to that point when I'm sure it was that way for you. You get to that where you get totally broken,
Oh, yeah.
and you're so broken that your pride is gone, your all that is gone, and you're sitting and say, when I find what I'm doing, whether it's being born again or it's being going into a lifestyle that will bring you back to the health and proper human condition. So we have a proper human diet, but now we have this proper human condition, don't we?
Totally.
We haven't
Yeah.
talked about the PHC very much, have we? What's the proper human condition? The proper human condition is I take accountability for my actions. I'm there to protect and come alongside other people. I'm there to nurture, right?
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah. For me, it started when I was stuck in that chair and, I wasn't sure if I was going to wake up every day,
Uh-huh.
and when I was there, it started with me was a year. I kid you not. That's why I say sometimes I give carnivore or this way of eating too much credit because it all started with me spending a solid year listening to Kenneth Hagin and Christ the Healer and just being straight with God. Like, if you got a plan for me, you have my full attention. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
where it started, and if I hadn't got that year in first, I don't think any of this would have, this is an answer to prayer for me,
absolutely. And Ella, you are spot on tonight. You're on fire with these comments. And it's amazing. People will go ahead and be there and watch you destroy yourself because I think the psychosis, and that's what I call it, the psychosis, is a mob mentality. The doctor said it's fine. The
right?
news said it's fine. Media says it's fine,
Hmm.
right? But we all go home. Now, I don't know about you all, and then we go boohoo in our private closets. And you heard me say it last night. We have our inward eyeballs focused in on ourselves, and we're all upset. And then we don't realize we have sold our proverbial soul and our bodies to agencies and individuals who don't give a large rodent's rectum about our outcome as long as we don't buck the system. The
Yep.
last thing they want, and I'm talking about earlier with the machine, the last thing they want is free thinking, a responsibility accepting individual because you're cutting into my profit margin.
Right. Yep.
And I'm
Don't.
not surprised that Dr. Barry doesn't fall under more, and Sean Baker doesn't fall under more assault.
Yeah, I know, and I think they will as they get bigger. I mean, obviously, carnivore is blowing up, but I just hope, the reason why I picked the carnivore name too is because it more close, I realize these names are kind of silly, like lion, carnivore, all these things. It kind of puts you in this weird little box, but at the same time, I chose it because it was the closest thing. If you say keto or low carb, people think keto, and the big food has gotten their hooks into keto and made all these stupid keto products, and they've tainted the water so bad that good strict keto can work too for a lot of people that are as metabolically sick as I was, and a lot of everybody that we talk to need carnivore too. But I pray that they don't get their hooks in the keto, banner or the carnivore banner like they did the keto banner and screw it up. I don't know how they would, but I think as the more it gets mainstream and popular. I mean, it's exploding right now. I think it's going to get on the radar, and I think that's a lot why they went after what Dr. Berg was talking about the other day, where they came out with a new community guideline, said that they're going to start banning misinformation as far as alternative medical and diet things go.
Yeah, well, having been in politics, I kind of know how that kind of works. And what we have to do as a community, or what we should do, and I know Mike Shaw knows a lot about this, what I think we should do as a community is kind of sort of what Carrie Homestead House have been saying about we need to go find our local producers and we need to support them. And now I would tell you, as a former elected official, right? You as a citizen can have a tremendous amount of impact on them if you would be willing to do like 4 or 5 things. So my short list: find the 4 people at the different levels. So for you, most people don't realize, but most of your taxes happen to you at your state and local level, not federal. All right. Find someone in your local level, find someone at your state level, find someone at the federal level, right? That you can see eye to eye with, that you could support, right? I'm not saying love, I'm saying support. Send each one of them a $25 check. What this does, it puts you on their mailing list. All right. Now you will get a lot of mailers, but in political season, you will also get invitations to go to various fundraisers. Now, the next phase of this is find that person and volunteer to help them in their campaigns, particularly when they do fundraisers at people's houses. They need people who will take care of the list, make the name tag, make sure the maybe some different things happen, like the support activities. And so I would see college kids who didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, right? They would come and they'd volunteer for them. They make phone calls and they do all this stuff, right? And then they'd be at the fundraiser. Now, they didn't pay a penny to go to the fundraiser because they're working the fundraiser. So what happens is, after about your 10th time of going to a fundraiser for the governor or for anybody in office, their stump speech. So you kind of pull to the back of the audience. They're talking amongst themselves. And if they got nobody else to talk to, they talk to the help. I've literally watched billionaires talk to the young people who didn't know they were billionaires and everything, right? And ask them their opinions, right? And
right.
then you can grow your sphere. But once you get invited and get tabbed with that $25 check, you're on their radar. Everybody wants to talk to you. Well, that's the name of the game: building relationships. And then if you ever communicate to an elected official, do not curse at them and do not tell them your life story. This is what I have an issue with. This is what a resolution I'm hoping to look for. P.S. I'm looking for ways to support you in your next campaign. Right? People would say the most horrendous things to me. I'd look at them and go, and this is going to motivate me to listen to you.
Right.
So just FYI, so if we want to help the farmer, yes, go to the farmer and buy the food. But the next thing is go to the county commission, go to your ag producer store and find out what ag people are facing and try to be part of the solution set for them in what they're doing. Otherwise, you're peeing into the wind, and that doesn't work too well. That's just
for
me.
Sure.
Catch up on some of these here comments. We got Lisa's Blessed Life is here. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you. Meeting well. Lost weight on meat, heavy keto. Got all my other physical. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
And I love you. I love your shorts by the short videos you're putting out. I have to be careful. I said that. I love the short videos you're putting out. The content is amazing. The Panther. I don't know about Panther diet. Okay. All right. Next thing you know, you're going to identify as a cheetah, and we're going to have to put a litter box in your office. Sprinting like a cheetah. There you go. I know a lot of people doing the sprinting thing. I know there's a 30-day challenge on that one. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll be sprinting. What do you say, Todd?
Oh yeah, it's on my list actually.
That's a great. You know what? I'll tell you what. That'd be a great thing here in a minute. Once we catch up on these comments, I'd like to hear some people saying, "What's on your 1 year list?" Maybe like something that's really far out there that you really say, "Hey, now that I've gotten to this point, like last night we were talking about, Todd, you said getting in the car to drive, and Susan said the same thing, right? Getting in the car to drive. I mean, a lot of
Yep.
us don't see that, but you talk about that. Well, heck, what is a goal way out there? You know what I mean? Something like you said, sprinting,
Yep,
right?
I got a bunch, yeah, and that I'm dead serious on that too because those high interval workouts, if you sprint, there's a system where you sprint. You start off at whatever you can, but you measure your heart rate, and you want to. I got to look up the formula, but the formula is basically your start at 240 minus your age, and then you go 80% of that, and that should be your heart rate. But you want to sprint until you can elevate it to that, and then you test your heart rate, and you want it to recover in I think it's 2 minutes.
Great.
You want it to recover, and then you do that again. But that causes a massive amount of autophagy and growth hormone spurt, and even stem cell growth. And I just figure I got a fair amount of damage. I got a lot of things. I got a crazy list of things that I want to do to really boost autophagy. I mean, one of them is I'm working on saving up to buy a hyperbaric oxygen chamber actually, and I want to start doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy for me and my brother both. And so I want to introduce that, and I'm already doing grounding therapy, and I ordered what's called an EWAT system, which is an exercise with oxygen therapy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to start doing that until I can. Well, if I got a I don't know that I would fit right now in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. I'm still a little bit too big, but my goal is in the next 12 months is to get down low enough that I can get some of this skin off. And then I want to start doing high interval workouts, and I want to start doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy and and I'm going to get stem cells. I want to get some stem cells in uh, Panama, the Panama Stem Cell Institute. Those are
Well,
my three big things.
well, that's cool. I know that the HIT training, the high intensity interval training,
Yeah.
I know that that has a wonderful impact because it causes what we call the epigenetics. I know you read about it.
Yep.
What we really want to do, we want to trigger the optimum design that we were given for this exact purpose. So we want to do the HIT training. I don't know. Have you ever listened or looked up Dom D'Agostino?
Yeah. Dom D'Agostino. Yep. I watched a bunch of his stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So that guy put he to me, he is an early version of Dr. Chafee. I
Yep.
mean, the guy is horribly disfigured, ugly, and no, I'm only kidding. The guy, like Dr. Chafee, he been blessed by God with a tremendous physical capacity. He's
Yep.
also incredibly intelligent, and he did a lot of work developing ketones and ketone esters, and they were able to. They can put you into ketosis in about 30 minutes, right? And so the thing being there is, I think a lot of what you're looking at there, Dr. Stephen Finney and him, I believe, work a lot together, and you can get things and do things to really. Uh, I don't want to call them cheat codes or hacks, but to engage your body in those subroutines, if you would, that are totally good for you. But again, we each have to make these signposts along the way, right? And I think that's by having these goals, like you have the goal sprint. So I'm gonna look real quick here I want to see if anybody put anything. I know that Mike Shaw wants to be the fastest 61-year-old in Iowa, and I know Mike likes to sprint. But looking to see if does anybody who's hanging out in the comments have something they think that they can do in a year that they couldn't do, they would not have thought of doing before they started here in the carnivore way of life. All right, buying a bunch of eggs, Christy. That's good. I love me some eggs. Sprint like a cheetah too. I tried sprinting last year. That hurt.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful there, Mike, on them eggs because they've gotten smart on people queuing in on orange yolks. So they actually put something in the chicken feed to make the yolks oranger.
Yeah. I just got 20 chickens in, what was that, July. And man, they are so much better than store-bought eggs. It's not even close.
Now, do your chickens get to eat bugs?
Yep. Tons.
See, that's what most people don't realize is chickens, generally speaking, early on in their life cycle, these were jungle type birds and stuff like
Yep.
that. And they ran around. If you won't have a tick on your property if you have a bunch of
Nope.
chickens, right?
Totally.
But if chickens are just fed commercial feed, they're going to
Yeah.
end up being just like pigs. They're
Right.
going to have a lot of soy, and the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is going to be out, just like us, right?
Totally. Did I ever
So,
tell you what I found out about chicken from my dog?
what's that?
Before I went carnivore, my dog was having terrible seizures all the time. She had them for 5 or 6 years. It was crazy.
Oh,
And then and the vet just said, well, it's hereditary or whatever. And so we couldn't get her to stop having these terrible seizures. It was so bad. I hated seeing it. But I went carnivore, and at the time she was mostly eating chicken. And I went carnivore, and I just noticed that I didn't feel very well eating chicken.
right.
And so I got off of chicken and I started eating beef, and just kind of something in my gut just said I should probably start feeding my dog beef. If this chicken's not making me feel good, maybe that's making her sick. So I put her on all beef, and after about 4 months, I noticed she hadn't had a seizure. Her seizures were completely gone. So then fast forward to it was only like 6 months total since I'd put her on beef, but I bought chickens to have fresh eggs. And when I was talking to the gal that had the farm where I bought the 20 chickens from, I said, hey, this chicken's making me sick. I just don't feel good when I eat chicken. I feel great when I eat beef. You know what's going on with chicken? And she goes, oh yeah, the mass produced chicken is an absolute abomination. They take two types of chickens that won't breed in in nature. They won't breed in in the wild, but they incubate them, and because these chickens grow unnaturally large and quickly. And she
Six
said
weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks. And so that's how they can say they're not giving them growth hormones, because there are two species of chickens that aren't supposed to breed in nature. And she said how they found out that was making people sick was because dogs started eating it and having tons of seizures. And when she said that, I went, oh, okay, that's why Cosette's seizures went away, because I stopped feeding her chicken. So I haven't touched those chickens since. I haven't eaten chicken since I found that out, because it made so much sense. Because me and my brother both, when we'd eat chicken, we just felt off. Something was wrong when we were eating chicken. And yeah, it was giving Cosette seizures. She hasn't had a seizure now in almost a year, and she was having them, 3 or 4 times a month for 5 years.
I agree with you. When I was younger, in one of the multitude of jobs I had, I worked at a little mom and pop chicken shop, right? We would cut up chicken to fry with their special little recipe, and they did other foods too. And the guy said, look, I can't pay you minimum wage, but you can eat all you want. I'm gonna tell you what, I put away about 2 chickens a day on shift, right? I could eat some yard bird, but
Yeah,
that chicken was so much better than what we have now. The when you I like the dark meat, because it has a little fattier.
yeah,
I've
totally.
always liked it, but the breast meat, that stuff has gotten like cardboard.
Well, it's even worse. It feels fake, and then there's all of a sudden this weird chewy, I don't know, it's like gelatinous chunks in chicken now. I don't even know where it came from. Chicken when I was a kid never tasted like that. It never had those pieces of weird stuff in them. It's clearly been, like the gal that I bought my chickens from, she called it an abomination.
Yep. And so here in the comments that we're reading, I did see that on Dr. Berry's page today. I pushed that like button. I actually went into Dr. Berry's live today. We had 2.2 thousand people there. Of course, every question got answered and no one went unrecognized. Okay, that's a little much to ask of anybody. I'm just being funny. I'm not trying to throw shade, but that's hard to do. But yeah, you click your state and find your local farmers. And like I said, if you go to your local co-op, they've got all that information at your local co-op, and you can maybe even find some other people. I'm getting ready to go talk to a gentleman from my church. They have a farmlet that they've started. He has 16 calves, and I talked to Kerry about this briefly. But when I was younger, we did this with pigs. We'd buy piglets from a producer, and then we would finish them off, and we'd buy 3 at a shot. And what would happen? My dad had the money. The guy who had the farm, obviously, and one gentleman, he didn't have a proverbial pot to pee in, right? He had time. So he put into work, and then when we came time to slaughter, we all went out to slaughter, right? But we got that pork for pennies on the pound.
Yeah.
So what I talked to my friend about was, hey, can I buy one of these calves? Pay you up front for a calf? I'm even willing, if you let that calf be 4 or 5 years old, could be a cow, and you can have her. If she has calves, you keep the calves. But in 4 or 5 years, I want that cow taken to market, right? And but I don't want to pay market prices. I got to pay the butcher price. I get that, but I want to pay you today for a cow, give you a premium on top of that for like the food cost, whatever we're thinking, right? But I've been much happy to pay up front, knowing I got a side of beef coming, right? And know that's from a single cow, not mixed in with 7 other cows or 300 other cows from Argentina.
Right.
When you buy that meat at Walmart, they're probably 15-year-old cows, and there are 500 of them ground up together.
Yeah, that stuff's disgusting. And once you have local beef, you'll know the difference for sure. We're very blessed around here. We're even trading work for beef,
right.
So we kind of barter for them. So,
well, I think we have to be careful there, though, Todd. Let's. I know you're not doing anything out of source, but let's say that there's an optimum. There's an optimum food, and there's less optimum. The 10-year-old 600 cow hamburger is going to be a lot better than Wheaties.
Oh, for sure. I say that all the time. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good,
Right.
Just do whatever you can do, and then you take steps over time just to make it optimal, but don't absolutely eat, I say eat, even go to McDonald's and eat the burger patties over eating, Cheerios and cornflakes and, all that junk.
I had heard, and y'all correct me, I had heard that the McDonald's quarter pounders are full meat, no fillers, no, so.
Yeah, they say that about Wendy's too. They say all Wendy's burger is 100% beef,
Well, I will just have to take them for their word. Now, Christy, out there talking about your county map, I know you can go to there's got to be an FFA chapter nearby. Future Farmers of America, probably have one in your school. Find your FFA people, and I'm sure somebody knows somebody who's doing all the normal raising, whether it's beef or it's eggs or whatever you're looking for. But go to the FFA. That's what they're there for. I mean, they're all about promoting agricultural concerns. And a lot of people don't realize that if you're out in California or somewhere like that, there is a large agricultural industry there, no matter how hard they're trying to run every business out, but there's still pretty significant agricultural concern there. Cool. Now we're talking about the links there. That's good. Ellen says, I would not trust any food from these giant food restaurants. Who knows that's a very true statement. I mean, how many times, and this is one we don't talk about as carnivores. How many times do we see recalls for lettuce and spinach?
Right.
Right.
Yep.
That's a horrible thing there. So Going back to my question I had a couple minutes ago about what I want to do in a year from now,
Yeah.
I think in a year from now, I would like to do an extended weighted hike. Like, I'd like to go on a 5K hike with a backpack.
Right.
I think that's something that would, and not be, just totally demolished and demoralized. And here's one: don't want to be chafed.
Right. I think I understand what you mean.
All of us who've had a more than a size 38 waist probably know.
Yeah.
Yeah, listeria. Yeah. Yes, my FA school just saw it, but don't know much about it. Yeah, the future farmers of America. It's so funny. You'll see all these politicians trying to run around in FFA jackets around election time, but they
Yeah.
wouldn't know. They wouldn't know the working end of a farm from a hole in the ground.
Yeah. And I don't know about your states and stuff, but I mean, and I don't care whether people eat this or not, because I agree it tastes. I'd rather have grain finished cow beef than grass fed, because grass fed tastes a little gamey, But
That's a true statement. A lot of people don't realize it.
yep, for sure. But even so, I've seen in our state even all these smaller farmers just doing, just maybe doing 50 head a year, and just butcher them. It's just blowing up everywhere, and I think that's a really good sign.
Well, I've even got to thinking about, so, man, I guess I could go out and buy 4 or 5 acres or 10 acres, or go out with a couple people, buy 40 acres, and we could run a few head. But then I got to thinking about it. I said, wait, I got a guy in my church who has 80 acres, and he's already got the concern. I think
Yeah,
I'll just send him some money and fund the purchase of my calves, and then get a little better deal, because I don't know how they do it, but his heifer breed he runs, they take a little over 2 years to come to market,
right.
and because different breeds, and they don't yield. If you get, some will give you, that 1,000 pound a yield, and others are 750 on the, after initial on the hook. But
Right.
when you get it all done, you're probably bringing in only around 475.
And that's why people don't understand why grass fed is more expensive. They have an idea, but they get a little mad. Well, it's because your grass fed cows don't yield near as much as grain fed and grain finished cows.
Right. Mike, you're too funny. You're gonna raise a cow, right? Okay, that's not a cow, Mike. And that's a little bit. I'm sure someone in your neighborhood's going to realize it when all the drains in that apartment complex are coming up rather foul.
Yeah.
But they won't make the same noise, I guess, that a rooster might make.
No. Yeah. You get rid of those
So
pretty quick around here.
when our church, we used to be able to go down to Haiti on mission trip, right? And so we go down there a couple times a year. Well, at least three to five times a year. But one of the times we went down on medical missions, and I would go down for that because I did the photojournalism for it. And it was there was we lived in a compound, because we are in the voodoo capital of the world, in the town where we have our church, and so and they're very aware of us. Anyhow, there was always at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you way out in the country, you'd hear this crow go, and then the donkeys would start braying, and it was almost like Little House on the Prairie, because you'd hear the donkey, whatever donkey sounds make, and the crows doing this thing, and you could hear it go all down the valley, like, "Hey, Charlie, you up? Get up,
Right.
Charlie. No, leave me alone." And it'd go on down the valley, and there's a rooster. So a lot of people were not happy with this rooster because it was so early, and no air conditioning. We're sleeping. The men were sleeping under a roof, but in open air, and
Yeah.
the ladies would safe in the house below. But being in the house meant you just had windows and one little fan,
Hmm.
and the electricity would run out at night because it's all solar and diesel generated. So you have to feed the battery. So by about 3 in the morning, or 12, well, actually 12:30 at night, all the electricity was dead, right?
Yeah.
So they're just laying there in their racks in Haiti. It's hot, it's muggy, right? And then all of a sudden you got animal noises going everywhere. And they had peacocks too, Mike. I see your peacock. So what happened was uh, they were not happy with this. So when I came home and I put together a little video of everything, I made sure I got a couple of rooster crows in there. And you could see people just shuddering, getting tensed up hearing those crows.
I bet if we really knew that little phenomenon that would happen where everything starts waking up, I bet that has a lot to do with kind of calibrating our circadian rhythm. How people get off their sleep schedule and have a hard time. I think that has a lot to do with it. I really do.
Well, absolutely. We all know from reading, and I know a lot of carnivores do a lot of reading, but around 3:30 in the morning, a little bit of squirt of cortisol is given to your body. It starts to raise your blood pressure. That means there's a constriction of the capillaries and the blood vessels. Next thing you know, your bladder's talking to you, all sorts of things. Your body wakes up on this cycle if it works, and if you give it time and you're not chemically altered, that's about the time body starts warming up to get ready. Congratulations, by the way, on that, Susan, with the cheese tasting.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Roosters supposed to do the early morning. Yep, they do. They do them all the time. Think of this: they're men who are even stupider. I think that's pretty well how to put that. So, hey, look, we got about an hour and 36 minutes on this thing. It's getting late. I'm going to be traveling tomorrow. So let's go once around, everybody. Anybody have anything has to add to the discussion tonight? If they want to talk about here? Todd, you got anything you want to add?
Let's see. Something kind of big's coming up. Well, a couple of things, I guess, just for fun if anybody cares. But me and Limitless Lindy are going to start doing videos together on be Sundays for me and Monday for her.
Awesome.
Because I feel like I told her, we had a chat the other day that was really great, but I told her, one of the things where I'm just kind of trying to find what my spot in this carnivore area is going to be, Yeah. And when I was doing this, I didn't see anybody that was like me and Lindy and Bill,
Right.
We were on kind of the far end of the spectrum there. And so I feel like we can speak a little bit to things that might be unique to somebody that's in that kind of trouble. And I think we might be able to give them a little bit of hope. So we're going to start kind of pursuing that and some videos. So we're going to do those on Sundays here in the US time anyhow. And then also, I'm going to be on with Sean Baker on the 6th, and I'm pretty amazed about that. Yep, that's a big one.
That's a red letter day if ever, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Mainly because, it's like you were kind of saying the other day, I don't put, or Sean was saying the other day, intentional carnivore, I don't put these guys on a pedestal, but I did watch a lot of Sean Baker. So this is pretty amazing to get to talk to him. That's going to be pretty amazing. So
I have a question for you to ask him, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me write it down. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Was he stationed in Albuquerque? Because he was in the Air Force. He was an Air Force doctor.
Right.
And I believe he was stationed in Albuquerque because that's where his kids live and this. So he's stationed at Kirtland Air Force Base. And if he was, what years was he in the Air Force in Albuquerque? That's really the question. What years? If you were in the Air Force in Albuquerque, what years?
What years?
Because I was in Albuquerque from 1991 to 1994, and I think he and I were there at the same time.
91 to 94. Okay, I will ask him.
And you don't even have to ask him live. Like sometimes you have pre-meetings and after. But I fired the question at him. But when you're in a field of 365,000 comments, it's hard to see each one.
Yep, for sure.
Well, that is awesome. I'm so happy for you. I'm so glad that you get that opportunity. You
Yeah, it's
definitely
crazy.
deserve it. I mean, because
Oh, I
you have
appreciate
the
it, man.
opportunity to really to be a
Hopefully,
part of that documented thing everybody's looking for.
yeah. Like I said, I'm trying. I don't know. I know when because I can't think of many 700+ pound people on carnivore right now. I think it's me, Lindy, and Bill.
Right?
And I think Lindy started her channel just after I started mine, and I started mine because I saw Bill, and I was like, man, I really want Bill to know that this is very, very possible.
Right?
And so I think that's going to be kind of our little area we're going to try to hit hard on. So
And I totally understand what you're saying up there about trying to find your way in here, because everybody has something they're doing. That's why I kind of just popped up with this. How about we do an ad hoc, impromptu? Anybody can get into, talk about whatever we want to do, and it has become pretty Christian based too. I mean, we're unabashedly Christian in this time slot,
man,
and I believe
I gotta say, I honest to God, I don't think I could count on one hand, even fill up one hand of the carnivores I've met that aren't Christian. I mean, it's crazy. It's so crazy.
or at least who are open to it. 'Cause like when I talk to
Yeah.
someone, there are some people who are not that way. I get that, but the way I look at it is, it's not my job to judge, to
No.
push it, but it's just like we get mad at vegans. So if you're a person on a standard American diet and you go vegan, not full vegan, but that I know they got like 17 flavors of vegan, right? But you say you're not going to eat meat anymore, you're going to get healthier to begin with.
Absolutely.
It's just not a sustainable thing. And then it became a dogma, and then it became a militant thing, right? So we've got to work hard that we always make sure we look in the mirror and that we're not like that. And I think that is applicable to a lot of areas of our lives. So I agree with
Absolutely.
you.
I say about veganism, I think when you're vegan, you get healthy because of what you're not eating, and when you're a carnivore, you get healthy because of what you are eating.
That is absolutely amazing. You need to make that a tagline. Maybe you could take a couple words out and just make it like a tagline.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be kind of interesting. But yeah, that's to me that's always absolute. So happy to see you.
What's the other one? I came for this, but I stayed for that.
Right. Yeah.
I came for the beef, but stayed for the health. I like that. I came for the steak, but I stayed for the health.
Graham, I am on board. Absolutely. In fact, I was kind of hanging around too, and I wanted to talk to Scott. Did you get that email, Scott?
An email from.
From Graham on the carnivore movie?
I can't say that I did or I didn't, but I did look because while I'm doing this, I try not to be too
Graham's
too.
got Graham's got me, you, and Limitless Lindy on a team for working together on the obesity.
Oh, I just
Topic.
now I just now saw it.
Okay. So Graham,
Yep.
I'm 100% on board. We got to work out, but Scott, I was going to say you're much more analytical than I am, and you're more detailed. And so we got to pick a team leader. And so Lindy already said she's happy being a supporting member, and so I was just going to put it in your hands if you wanted it, and then we can all work together.
Well, here's what I say. Let's talk about it and let's see what we can do and make sure we understand the roles and responsibilities. And so we like to say in church, my yes is on the table,
Okay,
but we won't go about this blindly.
for sure. But Graham, I'm definitely in. So
Good. Thank you for bringing that up. That's awesome. That's awesome. So with that, if unless someone has a bunch to say that in the comment section, let me know, and we'll give you some space here in the comments. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap this up. I will tell you. Okay, a base camp invite today. Okay, and I'm like I said, I am going to be on travel. I'm going to go to the beach starting tomorrow, and I won't be back into this environment until sometime on Wednesday. So, not terribly sure if we're going to do the nightly thing on Monday and Tuesday. I may do it from the beach. I don't know. We'll see what, sometimes our spouses drive some of our decisions. And so I'm going to let that happen. But I really appreciate you coming on, Todd. I know you take a risk coming into a free form like this. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, no worries. I sure appreciate you having me, and it's always fun. So,
all right. And everybody out there, Mike, I appreciate you coming in. I know you and
heck yeah.
Christy. I appreciate Graham coming in here and Tam Steak. I'm sorry I didn't call you out, but thank you for dropping by. And it's so awesome. We actually had someone here from Nigeria earlier on tonight. And that was what a blessing that was, because she just popped in and she engaged with us, and she was so sweet. And I think that we forget sometimes. And now I know we have Limitless Lindy and some folks down underneath, right down under. But we had Kahinda Tekobo, and she was a bright spot in our early part of our get together here. And anyway, I appreciate all of you coming in. You guys are so wonderful. I know you have things you could be doing.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys. It was awesome talking with you.
All right. You all take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.
God bless.